This is Death to Humanity, a monthly roundup of all the latest AI news. Welcome. This is Death to Humanity, a monthly roundup of all the latest AI news, and to find out whether this really is the death of civilization. And I'm going to read this like a historian, because quite frankly, the only way to narrate 2026 is like to pretend that it's already happened. The only way to stay calm, really. And right, it already has happened. January has been and gone. So let's see what's happened in our monthly roundup. So let us begin with where all modern transformations begin. A subscription. In January, OpenAI pushed ChatGPT Go worldwide, positioned as a more affordable tier, including access to its newest models, and in a move that feels both inevitable and deeply on brand for humanity, testing ads in the free experience to support accessibility. Also in January, OpenAI launched ChatGPT Health, a health-focused experience in ChatGPT. If you ever wanted to watch the world's most powerful text engine become your most confident GP, this is the era for you. I mean, there is of course business implications to all of this, and it shows that AI is not just a tool anymore. It is becoming an everyday interface that people expect. But the question is this death to humanity? No, I don't believe so. However, it is the death to having to train everyone later on AI and actually begin doing it now. Chapter 2. January 2026 was not subtle. It came out swinging with AI agents in business software. So, Exhibit A, ServiceNow and OpenAI. ServiceNow and OpenAI announced a multi-year agreement to put OpenAI models into ServiceNow's platform, including work towards a speech-to-speech experience and computer use capabilities. And if you're wanting that in plain English, your internal systems are about to get a colleague who can talk, click buttons, and carry out tasks across your workflow, which is either the future of productivity or giving a helpful intern access to the finance system. Exhibit B, Google Cloud goes on full concierge. Google Cloud unveiled Gemini Enterprise for customer experience, describing pre-built agents across the customer lifestyle, with named early adopters like Lowe's, Papa John's, and Woolworths. And this is not just a chatbot anymore. It's pitched as a thing that can do multi-step things across tools whilst keeping context. And yes, they explicitly position it as moving beyond static shopping and support experiences. And then Exhibit C is AWS keep building in the plumbing. AWS introduced Bedrock Agent Core, basically more infrastructure for building, deploying, and running agent-style systems properly. And so what does this mean for businesses? Well, the conversation is moving away from which model do we use to which tasks can we safely let our system do itself. The question is this death to humanity? Not yet. It is deaf to the idea that AI at work just means using it to write your emails a bit faster. Chapter 3. While the big platforms went agent first, the everyday tools is also quietly mutated. Within Microsoft, Copilot keeps getting embedded. Microsoft keeps shipping Copilot updates and including controls around how Copilot behaves in work contexts and how organizations manage the experience. The pattern is consistent. AI becomes a layer across the suite, not just a separate place that you go. Within Google Workspace, Gemini turns meetings into artifacts. Google expanded Ask Gemini into Google Meet, and it turns meetings into summarized, searchable outputs. And then Notepad. Yes. Notepad. Microsoft rolled out updates for its Windows Insiders, where Notepad's AI features, streaming results, and Paint gets an AI coloring book prompt feature. Historians note that in 2026, humanity reached a critical milestone. We gave the most basic text editor on Earth the ability to summarize things it didn't write. Now, what does that mean for businesses? Your team will adopt it, whether you plan it or not. So, does this really mean it's the death to humanity? No, but it is the death to controlling AI usage is just telling them that nobody can use it at all. Into chapter 4, where Apple blinks, hardware whispers, and energy screams. So now we move away from the world of software into the physical, real world, where Apple and Google have a joint statement that has made the industry sit up. Google and Apple said they're collaborating with Apple's next generation of foundation models based on Gemini, and they reference a more personalized series, thank goodness, coming this year. AI distribution is consolidating into the platforms we're already using. Phones, OS level assistants, default ecosystems. NVIDIA say AI on every desk and physical AI everywhere. OpenAI have released more in regards to power and hardware, apparently working on a plan related to energy, and because scaling AI is increasingly about electricity, not just the code. And OpenAI have reported that they're looking to ship their first device in 2026. So, for businesses, what does this mean? The next competitive edge is not just who uses AI, it's who can operate it cheaply, securely, and as close to the workflow as possible. Who gets locked into what ecosystem? So is this really death to humanity? Not yet, but I think it could be death to your cloud bill. On to chapter 5. In January, one of the most quietly important things was not any model. It was the continued movement towards AI management systems becoming certifiable. Basically, making it a lot more boring, but a lot more safe. NQA announced a UCAS accreditation for certifying organizations against ISO 42001. Basically, what this means is that businesses will win this year if they can say, here's where AI is used, here's how it's monitored, here's who approved changes, and here's what happens when it fails. Otherwise, your AI strategy is quite frankly just hope wearing a blazer. But is this death to humanity? No. However, it is death to people just trying things out within a production environment. So, to round this off, has January really been death to humanity? Not at all. 2026 has not yet been the year in which robots replaced us. It was, however, the month that businesses got serious about execution and not just the novelty of AI. It's not just that AI writes stuff, it's AI starts acting. And that changes the practical questions you should be asking within business. So, as interesting as the news all is, what's the practical parts? What do businesses really care about in January 2026? If you want to respond intelligently to January 2026's news, then here are the 5 sensible moves. Pick one workflow where speed matters and risk is low. This could be customer FAQs, internal policy queries, meeting notes, proposals. Define the boundaries before you scale. What can it access? What can it do? What requires approval? Measure impact in time saved and error reduction. If you can't measure it, it becomes an extremely expensive hobby. Decide your ecosystem bet deliberately. Microsoft, Google, AWS, ServiceNow, OpenAI. You can mix them, but you do need a plan. And the final one, write the boring policies, because boring policies prevent exciting incidents. And that was January 2026. My thoughts being, agentic AI is becoming much more important, which means that AI policy becomes more important. Quite frankly, AI is becoming something that doesn't just talk back to you, but it's something almost like an employee. January 2026 has set a precedent for what 2026 is really going to be looking like. So far, I don't think we're going to be overtaken by the robots, but I think a lot of businesses will. Well, I'll see you in February to see what happens. That's if we all have jobs.